Well, good thing you didn't see Real Housewives of Atlanta, because when I see Kenya Moore coming, the wrath of her, I would just duck. So that was a very
I can see that now.
well, look, it's a far cry from Seventh Heaven and Lucy Camden. Like when you look back, I mean, it's 15 years ago. Like, are you just like, where is the past 15 years?
Oh, I mean, it's crazy. I feel like life is like flying at super speed. I mean, I still look at my husband and I'm like, we have kids. What? Where did they come from?
How did this
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah, like what? I'm responsible for people. Like this was not a good idea.
Did
Um,
do you still keep in touch? Like I know Jessica Biel was a bridesmaid or wedding. Like you guys are still really close.
yes, I still talk to Jesse regularly. I still talk to Mac, who just had a baby. But she's on the other side of the country, so sadly I don't get to see her as often. Yeah, I mean, for the most part, those of us we try to check in on each other every once in a while. I still talk to Brenda Hampton all the time, the writer and creator, and just the genius of Seventh Heaven. Because we still have aspirations to do another project together.
You do. Well, what about a reboot? Like with Reboot Mania, where it's at? Like, have you ever been approached? Has there ever been talk amongst the cast?
We've definitely talked about it. It's just a matter of finding a place in which who would, want to do it. I think we've come up with a lot of different scenarios of how to do it, and but haven't been able to find someone to jump on board with us. But you know what? I think magic will come when magic is meant to be.
I would listen. There's a lot of fans out there that would love to see.
Oh,
You would definitely be interested, though.
absolutely. I mean, heck yeah. I would love to know how many kids Lucy has. Hopefully it's not 7.
Hopefully, it's not seven. We can have a different number.
Yeah, let's go for a different number.
Maybe we'll have a guest appearance by Justin Timberlake. I mean, who knows?
I mean, you never know.
You talked a lot in this show about like, a lot of like everyone had a different reason. Like Mel B talked, a lot about like her abusive relationship and Jamie Lynn Spears, like living in, the shadows of Britney. You talked a lot about like just your self-doubts and like growing up in Hollywood and dealing with the business. And, you felt people got ahead of you in the business and roles. Like talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest things with the show was like really kind of diving into the mental work and really like figuring out kind of who you are and like what you think of yourself. And um, you know, I have always kind of blended into the background, and so it was kind of this realization of like, I really wanted to be seen, and I want to be seen for who I am and what I'm capable of and what I can do. And I realized that no one's putting me in that space. I'm putting myself in that space. So I needed to learn how to shine brighter and to be more vocal and to stand up for myself and to advocate for myself. And, that's uncomfortable. That's not like, especially when it's from a very true and honest place, not when it's coming from a boastful or a place of where you're kind of peacocking to try to make yourself look amazing, but it's because you're hiding something else. But when you're truly saying like, no, this is me and I'm good enough and I'm going to show you that I'm good enough. It's scary. It's uncomfortable. But it's a place in which like, I need to get to, because, I've kind of just, I've always been content with where I'm at, and I am, and I'm so grateful for it. But I know that there's more to give. I know that I have more to offer this world, and I know that my greatest gift is that I connect to people, and I know that there's a scale in which I need to connect in a greater way. And I think actually this show has been incredible because I was worried about people kind of being hard on me about like, oh, she's so emotional, or oh, she's so pathetic, or and I think in me showing up in my truest and most honest space has been profoundly connective to so many. The things that I read just break my heart. I just want to give everyone a hug and say like, you're enough, like you're perfect, you're amazing. And so that has been an incredible gift that I am like just blown away by, is having people kind of see that.
I took that from watching you as well. Is there a part like, like I once spoke to someone that said they were heavily in the mix for like the Julia Roberts part of on Pretty Women? Like, was there, to your point in like the business and certain, like, was there ever a part that you were like, oh my God, that's so and so?
Oh, like my entire career. Like, I mean, I could go back to, growing up. I mean, there were so many parts that like I was always in the mix for it. But I've always been a very firm believer in everything happens for a reason. And I always knew that if I didn't get a part, it wasn't meant for me. And the parts that were meant for me would come. And so I've always had confidence in that it's what's meant for me will come. Patience is hard. But I also feel like in this next space of life, it's also about like getting uncomfortable and creating spaces in which I can exist that people might not have seen me for before, and like creating those opportunities for myself and not waiting for someone to come and say, hey, here's a job. I think it's about stepping up and saying like, no, I'm going to make something happen. Like, I think that's really incredibly powerful, is when you stop waiting for other people to hand you something and you start to go out and you get it your damn self.
I think the business has changed, right? Like we're in a different.
100%.
Is there one part you would like to share here today that you were in the mix for that you were just like, I mean, the person who got it was meant to play it. I agree. Like the universe has its way of working itself out and everything is meant to be.
I mean, God, there's so many times, like there were things like, I mean, Thora Birch and I always used to go up against each other. Natalie Portman and I used to go up against each other. Like, I mean, to think that, how life could have been so different, but, I'm so grateful for, where I landed. Seventh Heaven was the perfect fit for me. And, I supported that show for 11 years and I'm so grateful for it. So.
Well, a totally self-indulgent part of your career, Hollywood Darlings. I've talked to Jodie Sweetin before. I've talked to
Today
Christine
is her
Lake.
birthday.
Is it?
Today is her birthday. Yes.
Such a great show. So,
well, you know what? Jodie, Christine, and I are just like kindred spirits. We had the best time on that show. So sad we couldn't do it more. It was like basically summer camp. And it was like amazing.
It seems so fun. And
it was so much fun because there's something magical when you just don't take yourself seriously and you can just play. And that is what we did every day. We just literally just made fun